How you doing?
Let me start off by
Who besides Howie has a question?
Well, let me start off by asking. You said that this is the only governor not to balance the budget, but the fact is that Jan Napolitano did the same techniques with accounting gimmicks and borrowing. So how can you accuse?
No, that's not what I meant. I meant that at the end of the fiscal year there was not a balanced budget. That's what the Constitution requires. And as I went through in my litany, the first year it was out of balance by $450 million. The second year, $150 million. And then this current budget is $700 million out of balance. That's not a balanced budget. That's failing to do the most essential job that a governor has, which is to make sure that the state's financial ship is in order. So that's nothing, I didn't say anything, or I should have, about the fact that she also borrowed $200 million a month in order to pass some of the decisions that she keeps saying she made. She's passing them on to next year.
Terry,
because those are all going to come true.
Successfully to the economy. You're trying to get away from SB 1070 and change the whole conversation of this campaign to...
Well, the conversation in this state is about the economy. I have no doubt about that. People are out of work. People are finding their children don't want to come back and start their careers in Arizona. That's the kind of emergency that I'm trying to deal with. And I think that's what Arizona voters are most concerned about. They want to know that we've got a plan immediately to get jobs. They want a governor who is the economic ambassador and working every single minute to get jobs back into Arizona and not making statements, false statements, that defame our state, knock down our law enforcement who are doing a terrific job, and talk about beheadings. You notice I asked her to withdraw her statement, her false statement, that there were beheadings in Arizona, and she blew it off and would not answer. I think the bottom line is we have to be proud of our state. We've got a lot to be proud of, and certainly not do things that drive jobs away. And that's what Jan Bruce...
had anything to do with the classification review of how it made Senate?
I don't know, frankly, what she was talking about. The change of 400... Well, I know generally there's a Department of Corrections classification of prisoners, and it allows them to move very violent down the steps so that they can be taken care of in a, frankly, less expensive way. That's been around for a long time. If you go on the Department of Corrections website right now, the current reclassification is dated February 2010. So that's nothing I ever saw, and it was done by the Department of Corrections under Jan Brewer. But let's look at the most important thing. The Kingman facility was designed for drunk drivers, a minimum security facility. Sometime this last year, they decided to put 1,400 beds into medium security and then bust over 400 violent criminals to Kingman. They didn't tell anybody they were coming. Certainly the sheriff and the local police chiefs didn't know these people were in their community now. Most people thought it was still a DUI facility with relatively nonviolent people. Now, we had an escape. Before that escape, the Department of Corrections under Jan Brewer said everything's fine, three actually minor problems, and clean bill of health. After the escape, they went in and really took a look and found what they called a climate of indifference towards safety. They found a prison that frankly was not keeping a secure eye on the violent people that were there, and there has still not been a call, as there must be, for an independent Blue Ribbon Commission to look at the safety of all the prisons in Arizona, to determine, public and private, whether they're doing the job to protect the public. That's what she has to do, and she has refused to do it. 1 month after the escape, there still is no statement, except a little bit here this evening, from Jan Brewer about what she plans to do to check on the security of our prison system. That is an abdication of responsibility by the governor, and she needs to step up, take responsibility, and start on the road to finding security in our prisons.
She charged you several times with not having a plan and then would ask you if you had a plan. You didn't seem to be able to speak out a response. Do you feel like in this debate you were actually able and successful to articulate?
Oh, I've got an excellent plan. It's on my website, and it's to grow 300,000 jobs in the state of Arizona. That's what gets us back on track. That's what puts us back in the game. But as to plans, as to doing the job, as Attorney General, I've balanced every budget that I've had to do. I've reduced the size of my office by 25%. We've had to suck it up and to economize. As Mayor of Phoenix, I balanced the budget. So, I've done the job. I don't know what she's talking about. She's the governor. She's supposed to have a balanced budget and has failed. In all of the budgets that she has worked on, none of them have been balanced.
Okay, but Terry, the problem is that...
Didn't SB 1070 bring more attention to the border, like she said, and bring federal attention to the issue? I mean...
it's impossible to predict who made up their mind when. Bottom line, our border's a problem. We need to focus on border security and stop criminal cartels bringing people illegally across the border. That's what I've been doing for 7 years as Attorney General. We've focused on the cartels, we've seized $20 million of their assets, we've arrested some of their top leaders, and we've broken up some of their organizations. There's a lot still to be done, and we're going to need federal help to do it. So that's what I've been in Washington pleading for. We need to go on the offensive. Stop this defensive play on the border, because it's like a massive game of Red Rover. The cartels are going to pick the weakest spot every time, and they're going to run through with armed convoys of people and drugs. The only way we're going to be effective in stopping the influx of illegal folks coming into our state is by a serious criminal prosecution effort toward the cartel leaders in Mexico and taking the whole cartel organizations apart.
Terry, you said you're going to propose suggestions, your word, on balancing the budget. Are you going to do that or not?
Well, I have suggestions on balancing the budget, and I will do that separately. But the bottom line here is that we have to talk about building our economy. And that's what she has not done. Amazing that she wanted to have the next legislative session to finally talk about tax reform. The thing that the business community has been pleading for from the beginning, saying, Governor, we're not competitive. We cannot compete with other Rocky Mountain states, much less the rest of the country. And so now, maybe, if she gets elected, she'll go and try to get some tax reform. That's way too late. She said she felt like she was on the Titanic when she first took over because things were so bad, and she has been vigorously rearranging the deck chairs for the last 18 months, and that's all we've got to show for it.
Mr. Goddard, a new report today from the Pew Research Center actually says that illegal immigrants coming into our country is down a significant percentage. What do you make of those numbers?
Well, I think they've been down for quite a while, and the bottom line also, I believe the same Pew report said that most people coming to this country illegally weren't coming to Arizona. They were coming through Arizona. And so I think that, again, is one of the reasons that we have to focus at the border on the criminal cartels that are bringing people across the border. Without those cartels, without organized criminal assistance, people would not be coming illegally into the United States. So let's assess the problem and do what I've been doing through stopping their money and then going after the leaders of the cartels, dismembering their organizations. That's the only way we're going to truly secure the border and truly make an impact on illegal immigration. And we got to start now. This is, I don't know how urgent I can make it. This is something that this country needs to take much, much more attention to and go on the offensive. Stop playing defense. Stop making it a game of Red Rover where the cartels get to pick their hole and then shoot into it.
You said you want the comprehensive immigration reform. Does that include regularizing the 11.1 million illegals here, giving them a path to citizenship or legal residency?
Well, I think what we need to talk about and what Congress needs to talk about is comprehensive immigration reform that is not amnesty, that is tough and fair, and which recognizes that this country has been asleep, has not done the right thing by regularizing the visas over almost 30 years. And now is the time to put everybody on the same page, make sure that everybody that's working in this country is working here legally, and we do not have this incredible problem of illegal folks within our community. That's what people want us to change, and I believe comprehensive, non-amnesty immigration reform is the way to do it. But Congress has to do it.
So what do we do with the 11 million people here illegally?
Congress can handle that through immigration reform. That's what they have to do.
In a rare occasion, Governor Brewer is actually going to come out and talk to you all, so we'll let her do that because we want you to take advantage of this opportunity.